You and your infant child are out shopping, and she starts getting cranky. Yep, she's hungry. As you begin breastfeeding her, an employee approaches you and tells you that you have to stop and claims that you could be arrested for indecent exposure or disorderly conduct. Come on, people, they're just boobs. What are your rights? Do you know what the law says? Can this employee really make your child go hungry? Can you really get arrested for public breastfeeding? One of the most common threats that employees, or other patrons for that matter, make against breastfeeding mothers is that they are committing disorderly conduct. Do you know what constitutes disorderly conduct under the law? A person commits an offense if he intentionally or knowingly makes an offensive gesture or display in a public place, and the gesture or display tends to incite an immediate breach of the peace. The disorderly conduct statute is often used as a catch-all provision when there aren't other grounds for arrest or detention. For example, a woman was arrested, charged, and convicted of disorderly conduct for going topless at a beach festival because her exposed breast tended to incite an immediate breach of the peace. Yeah, that actually happened. To answer the question, no. Public breastfeeding does not constitute disorderly conduct even if the breast is briefly exposed. Another crime that ignorant people like to threaten breastfeeding mothers with is indecent exposure. I mean, it even sounds like it might be applicable, right? Well, that's what they're banking on. Under the law, a person commits an offense if he exposes his anus or any part of his genitals with intent to arouse or gratify the sexual desire of any person, and he is reckless about whether another is present who will be offended or alarmed by the act. First, there is a serious question over whether breasts are genitals. Genitals do not have a definition within the penal code, and courts have determined that because the term genitals is not statutorily defined and has not acquired a special legal or technical meaning, it is improper for the trial court to define the term for the jury. Since we do not have a definition, it is difficult to state with any certainty that breasts are or are not genitals. Common sense would tell us that they are not. However, courts have come up with crazier definitions. Need I remind you of the California Supreme Court case that decided that bees are fish under the Endangered Species Act? Second, even if breasts are genitals, the exposure would have to be with the intent to arouse or gratify the sexual desire of any person. Anyone who has ever tried to calm a screaming, hungry infant can tell you that sexual arousal is the last thing that the mother intends at that moment. Therefore, even though indecent exposure sounds like an applicable crime that the public breastfeeding might merit, it is very clearly not applicable. Texas law recognizes breastfeeding as the best method of infant nutrition, and that breastfeeding a baby is an important and basic act of nurture that must be encouraged in the interest of maternal and child health and family values. Among just some of the many benefits of breastfeeding, did you know that breastfeeding protects babies from infections and illnesses that include diarrhea, ear infections, and pneumonia? Also, breastfed babies are less likely to become obese, less likely to develop asthma, and have a reduced risk of sudden infant death syndrome. Texas law also states that a mother is entitled to breastfeed her baby in any location in which the mother is authorized to be. Texas isn't alone in passing public breastfeeding laws. In 2018, Utah became the 50th state to pass a law making it clear that mothers have a right to breastfeed in public. A public place is generally defined as any location in which the public has access to. So long as you are authorized to be there, then you have a right to breastfeed there. On that same note, if the owner of a business or someone with authority over the premises revokes your right to be present on the premises, then you must leave. Private property owners can decide to declare you a trespasser and force your removal from their property. Now, whether or not their act of kicking you off their property for breastfeeding rises to the level of discrimination that would support a civil lawsuit is a discussion for another day. But that shouldn't stop you from firmly informing them that you believe that they are discriminating against you for public breastfeeding. Whether or not you choose to breastfeed is a private decision between you, your family, and your doctor. Just like that decision is nobody else's business, it is also nobody else's business where you decide to feed your child.